All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to No One Asked Us, episode 47. And this week we are fortunate enough to have the ever wonderful Richard Grieser on with us. Richard is the chief sales and marketing officer at, I got the wrong one pulled up. That one said Monster Lead Group. It's not.
All right. All right.
Richard is the chief marketing and sales officer at Loansure, the company formerly known as Monster Lead Group. The rebrand isn't just a new logo. Loansure just launched as an AI-enabled loan acquisition system that takes everything Monster mastered in lead generation and stretches it across the entire funnel. Less incremental spend, less incremental headcount, more funded loans. Richard joined to help drive that transformation, and the timing could not be more interesting. If you spent any time in mortgage fintech over the last decade, you already know Richard's fingerprints are everywhere. He was the man behind the curtain at Sales Boomerang, where he built the marketing department from a one-person show into a full-blown growth engine, helped steer the company through its LLR Partners acquisition, merged it with Mortgage Coach, and rebranded the whole thing as Trust Engine. After that, he ran go-to-market at Truve, a verification platform connecting lenders to payroll, employment, and asset data. Housing Wire named him 2022 marketing leader, and somewhere along the way, he picked up the reputation for out-of-the-box thinking, kindred spirit energy, and an almost suspicious ability to make complex fintech messaging actually land. Funny enough, Loansure is a bit of a homecoming. Sales Boomerang was originally started by Monster Lead Group partners. So Richard has effectively come full circle back to his roots with a decade of scar tissue and scaled wins in tow. Today on the show, we're getting into all of it, the rebrand, the AI thesis behind Loansure, what he's learned about mortgage tech adoption that the rest of the industry still gets wrong. Richard, thank you so much for being on. Claude thinks highly of you. How did Claude do?
Dude, Claude just crushed that. I think higher of myself after hearing that, man. Great boost to my day.
Yeah, we're going to need you to modify that prompt to say keep it less than 90 seconds.
Yeah.
I know. It did such a beautifully long one on Richard today that I wanted to actually read the full thing. I do
love that we changed the way you pronounce your last name on the fly right before we do this episode.
It is Richard Grieser.
Kids, man. My kids.
Well, actually, it's funny because I want to start real quick with a question around your name. So for those of you who don't know, Richard and I actually, I don't know how, because we've both been in the same industry for decades, but really just connected this year. And it was over the fact I am married to a Persian woman. Turns out Richard is Persian. Aziz. Is Aziz your real name in Farsi? Or is that your middle name?
It's my middle name. It's your middle name. If you knew me before I was 21 years old, you knew me as Aziz. Nobody knew me as Richard.
Got it.
Except for the tennis coach when I walked on the court and he was like, "Who's the dick greaser?" Because that's what it reads as, is Richard Grieser, But yeah. Hey, PK, before I forget, everybody, the one thing Claude missed is that I am an advisor to Loanscape as well. So
that is true. That is a very good point.
Yeah, so
we intentionally left that out because we didn't want to tarnish your good reputation. It was so beautifully written.
That was a score. That was a score for Loanscape. We're all still figuring out how PK convinced you. Kudos to you, PK.
Yeah.
All right, well, so everybody knows Aziz.
Now I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now.
Well, and Aziz in Farsi, for those who don't know, which is probably everyone, actually means the beloved. It's actually a very lovely name that your parents gave you as your middle name. So I love it. So all right, so let's jump right in. The place we always start on here is nobody grows up as a little kid going, I want to be in mortgage tech. So I'm curious, first and foremost, what did little Aziz want to be when he grew up?
I think that's a good question. I don't think I really had a long plan. I think when I was in school, I decided I wanted to be a doctor. Decided organic chemistry in college was a little much for me. If I'm being honest, my GPA took a plunge.
Knocks them all out.
Yeah, I pivoted to law and worked at a law firm when I graduated, and quickly decided that wasn't for me either. Those guys were so miserable. I don't think I've ever met more miserable people than the lawyers I was working with. They were just unhappy people, and I was like,
they have the highest rate of addiction, don't they? Or
maybe, I don't know, but
yeah, two options are like the typical Persian ones, either a doctor or a lawyer.
I was going
to say options. I believe the Indians and the Persians have a similar path. You only get
for us, it's the engineers or lawyers.
Yeah,
it's true. Persians are very big on education. Like my father-in-law would when my wife was young, would talk down about people who didn't have a PhD. He'd be like, "Oh, they only have a master's."
Yeah,
a Persian, an Indian, and two bald white guys walk into a podcast.
hold on. Bald white guys.
Guys are gonna catch up soon.
Okay, so how did you land in mortgage tech? I mean, of all the places, after doctor, lawyer, and then you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go full bore on mortgage tech.
So I wanted to start my own company, and I went to business school instead of going to law school. And I went to Babson, which is #1 for entrepreneurship. So
Dude, I didn't know you went to Babson.
Yeah, I don't think you can really, this is my take, guys. I don't think you can really learn to be an entrepreneur. I think it's something that you just jump into and figure it out.
I would agree.
But I will, and most of the entrepreneurs at Babson, at least half, were people inheriting their parents' companies. Like the guy from Toyota is, that's like one of the students, like people inheriting these empires, and they have to learn how to run them. Really, I think it's the finance chops that they're picking up in an MBA program. But, after I came out of there, I came up with an idea. This is right around the time when Groupon was coming to market. And before Groupon even came to market, and there was another one called Living Social. And both of those were coming to market right around the same time. I came up with this company called Buyer Elite, and it's because there was like this service that I would use a lot, and I thought it was so cool because a bunch of people would group buy an item and save on the savings, right, from the bulk savings. So I started my own company called Buyer Elite, and then I took that a next step further, and I said, you know what, instead of all of us saving on this, group buy together, I went off the wall and I was like, let's create a gaming and e-commerce marketplace where we all buy something. You bought your product, you get like 10 or 20% that goes into a pot, and now we play a game, and whoever wins that game gets all of the savings. So it's basically, I had integrated with like Texas Hold'em online games. I had at the peak, I had 1.2 million SKUs integrated. I raised a bunch of money from Techstars and some investors. Things were going great. I thought that was going to blow up. We had like 10,000 users sign up very quickly. And then 2008 happened, and all the investment in the world dried up, and I just couldn't support it any longer. So I shut that down. I got into e-commerce. One of my suppliers, actually, when I was doing the startup, hired me, and that went well for like 6 years. I learned how to do high volume marketing for Snapfish and brands like that, if you've ever ordered photos. Then I got into the B2B side, transferred into a stint in ad tech. And I saw Alex Kostitian, the founder of Sales Boomerang, post when the company was just getting off the ground, and he was looking for a marketer. And he had gone through a couple marketers, and I was like, Alex, bring me on board. I'm going to crush this with you. And on board, that's when I got into mortgage.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
The rest is history.
And then you're stuck.
And you know what's really crazy about mortgage is like, it is so, just like you said, it's so hard to get out. I think once you're in, you make all the relationships, all the companies, and it's like Hotel California, right? You can never leave.
More like Motel 6, but yeah.
I know, but I think we all joke about it. It's funny, we all joke about this, right? Like it is the age-old thing of like, I'm gonna get out of mortgage. One of my favorite friends, who used to be a trader at Bank of America, used to always say that he was only smart enough to do mortgage. And I know we all kind of rag on it, but I think part of it is the people, right? Like, at least to me, it's like the industry has amazing people. There's never a shortage of problems, to solve or opportunities that are in the industry, which is what I think really brings us all back to it. You know what I mean? And keeps us going with it. But
my buddy at the company I was at Truve, and we do income and employment verifications back then. And my buddy verifies his income, and he thinks it's one of our clients. So he calls me up and he's like, "Hey man, I think I just used your service to verify my income and employment." And I was like, "Awesome. Who was it?" And he tells me the lender, and I'm like, "Yep, that's our client." And I was like, "What'd you think?" I was like, "What'd you think of the process?" And he's like, "Honestly, it was pretty ho-hum." And I was like, "Well, that's awesome, because that's exactly how it's supposed to be." But he was like, "Let me tell you about the lender." And then he just rants about how now I know where all the D students went. They're all on mortgage.
That's
like,
funny.
Feeling great about myself today,
Well, there you go. Okay, let's shift to Loansure. So recent rebrand. So love to talk a little bit about that. Like, what brought on the rebrand? Was it, as Claude said, it was a combination of both the marketing, but I think also the story behind the company as well.
Yeah, I mean,
also for those who don't know, what does it actually do? Like, what do you guys actually do?
Oh, that's a good point. Thanks, PK.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, so Monster Lead Group's known historically in the direct-to-consumer lending space as being the leader in direct marketing. A lot of that is direct mail. They just the leader in the space. They make the phone ring with refinance-ready borrowers in huge call centers, right? People are spending big dollars to make sure that their pipelines are full, and Monster Lead Group built a great reputation. I'll give you an example. I don't have to work that hard for a lot of business. It just comes in the door. People move around to different companies. You reach back out to Monster, and that's a great problem for someone who's leading marketing and sales. I mean, it's not a problem, but it's a great benefit of being at the company.
Right.
The rebrand to Loansure is a huge pivot, and it's been building for a long time with a lot of the capabilities that our company has been building towards. But, I think at the end of the day, Loansure is a loan acquisition system. It's not mail. It's way more than mail. In fact, mail just happens to be one of the channels that we use. A loan acquisition system is soup to nuts. The targeting, it starts with data and targeting and just knowing the industry, who's in the money for a refinance opportunity or not. Still only sell to direct-to-consumer lenders, but now Loansure provides a full funnel accountability from the very top where the lead comes in all the way down to applications taken, locked, closed, right? And we're working with our clients every single day with, we have a dedicated team that they get assigned that involves like performance marketing and data analysts, your account manager, execs from the company, peer level execs, and everybody is dedicated to making sure our clients are successful. We also have a suite of AI-enabled products that we're bringing, which I think all of you are involved in too, in different ways, with your AI-enabled software. But our products are awesome. I mean, they really help our lenders convert as many of the leads that are coming in, and not just Monster Lead Group's leads, but any leads. They can use them for any of their leads. It's really about supercharging pipeline and supercharging conversion.
That was the best sales pitch we've had on here yet, I think. He's definitely in marketing and sales.
Yeah.
You should get...
Well, I'm glad I fell on the right space.
So can we talk a little bit about the kind of what the AI roadmap or how Loansure is thinking about AI and implementing it?
Yeah. Don't expect a crystal ball. Like, I'm not going to sit here with a crystal ball and talk about where the industry is going and where the world is going with AI, because I really don't think any of us really know quite yet. So I'm not going to do any of that. But I will say that where we are right now, it's not like soon lenders that are bringing AI into their workflows, into their top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, back end processes, front end processes. Like, it's not going to happen. It's like the lenders that are already doing it are widening the gap already. And we can see it very, very clearly. I mean, even from just your sales team, I mean, just training your sales team, calls and using a basic AI enabled call intelligence. Hell, I use it on my own process when I'm doing a sales call,
Right.
I mean, it just makes you so much more efficient. And you don't miss any of the small details that you normally will miss when you just have to do it all yourselves. I think for me, the most freeing thing for a salesperson in mortgage right now is that you can actually listen and talk to the client without having to take notes all the time.
Yes,
Like
I agree.
that is huge.
I think also like follow-up items. I don't know if this happens to you, right? But I'm sure it happens to all of us, which is like you're crazy busy, you're doing a bunch of calls every single day, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, what was the follow-up with XYZ, right? And it's like now if you've got the right sales system set up, you're just going and basically querying that and being like, okay, what is my follow-up with Loanscape?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, oh, okay, boom. And to your point, like I don't have to have notebooks and reams of paper with handwritten notes that are completely unorganized.
I mean, you and I are probably on our best day doing 5 or 6 enterprise B2B calls in the day. Right. And you and I are struggling to remember people have 3 kids, or that they're, recently divorced or married, or whatever the personal detail is, because you're talking only 5 or 6 of these people a day. Imagine in a direct consumer lending operation where someone's talking to what are we talking, like 30 calls in a day?
Right. Yeah.
Remember any of those details without AI enabled software to help them out. I mean, like, I don't even know how people did this beforehand.
Yeah. No, there's no question about it. From the sales perspective, from a sales and marketing perspective, I think is where, at least to me, I mean, obviously coding, it's having a big impact in that space, and particularly what Chris and Mace Innovations is doing.
Shout out.
Mace, give me a little more. Give yourself, Chris. Go ahead. Give me a little more.
Chris, pitch yourself.
Yeah.
You, Chris.
Yeah. No, we are kind of leading the SaaS apocalypse, if you will. So we've got, we're doing a lot of hired gun stuff for a lot of the big tech companies. One on this call too. But we can't talk about a lot of those, or we'll help their developers learn how to use our platform to enable them to better use it. So a lot of people that are resistant to change because they've got not so much resistant to change. It's like, I've got 4 pull requests to do. I don't have time to go learn AI. But if we can come in, and then we also have a platform that we're about to start selling that is basically use the same platform that we're using to really crush out features that, PK can tell you, hey, just give us a few days and that's done instead of a month,
Yeah, awesome. Which is huge. I mean, Thanks, we talked about this a lot. You got the, I mean, for everybody to understand, like Mace got the luxury of, not having anything to do for a period of time, which I'm sure in the moment he was like, God damn it, like this sucks. Like, I don't want this, but it turned out to be the greatest blessing ever, because you guys just went head down on Claude Code while everybody else was busy, which brings up a big thing in the space, which, Richard, I'd love to get your take on this one, which we continue to talk to companies who have no AI roadmap or a very limited AI roadmap, who just don't have the bandwidth internally to take on this entirely new role, right? Like, okay, fine. If you're UWM or Cross Country or Rocket, like, you've got a chief AI officer, you've probably got a full AI department who's worried about governance and regulatory compliance and security and the technical components to all of it, right? But like the run-of-the-mill IMB or TPO or whatever doesn't have that luxury, and they don't have, quite frankly, the time in the day to do it. And when you look at, I apologize, I should know this. I think it's Fannie, but it's either Fannie or Freddie, who have now said that you must have one person in your organization as the, designated sort of AI single point of contact, right? So like I can't even imagine if you're the COO or the CRO or the whatever, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh, here you have this full-time job, right? Like,
Chris, you can do fractional work there for a bunch of
yeah,
mortgage companies.
yeah, we're doing that. We're doing that.
You're like, we spend all
No,
day
but I
long
think
in
there's
this space.
I think there's such a huge need for it in the space. I think there is I mean, I'm a little bit going in that direction, but I'm curious to see what Richard's seen and what Richard's hearing. I do think there is a need for that fractional CIAO. And I think lots of people need to do it. I don't think, like, if Chris does it and we do it and 5 other shops were to do it, like, there's more than, I think there's more than enough need across the space, and you can only responsibly and well do any. But again, coming back, like, what's your sort of read on that situation, Richard, or what are you seeing? Obviously, you deal with a lot of the big D2C shops, but you know everybody in this industry, so I'm sure you have lots of conversations.
Well, I also observe a lot of folks. I'm gonna see if I can. No, I can't. I was gonna share my screen, but I'm not gonna do that because it looks like it's gonna crash my system if I do it. I'm gonna shout out Keith Cantor. You guys know Keith Cantor? He's the CEO of FCM. He's got this really good post. You know, like, what I can do actually is drop the link into the chat. Just give me a quick second. I will drop the all right. Keith Cantor has this AI school. It's a 12 weeks hands-on AI training for every employee in his company. FCM is not some mega giant you're talking about, but they're growing very well, right? Good sized lender. Here, and I really want you guys, hopefully when you share this recording, you maybe just give him a shout and tell him Richard said, hey, was really impressed that he's doing this. He's got this AI school he's doing for all of his employees, 12 weeks hands-on, practicing prompting, drafting real documents, learning what's safe to share and what isn't. You walk away with something, that you can use that day, right? A prompt library, a reference card. It's pretty awesome, actually, if you ask me, and very forward-thinking. Because lenders don't have infinite time, they don't have infinite budgets, and it's very clear that Keith sees the writing on the wall. And I think lenders like Keith that are that far ahead of the curve, it's going to show, I think, in the next year as every employee gets more efficient in their organization. I don't know about chief AI officers at Rocket and stuff like that, big companies like that. I'm sure. I don't even know how much they invest in training their employees, because most lenders, even big ones, are trying to be efficient and lean. They're not trying to add huge buckets of cost. You know what I mean? But yeah, here.
I didn't really appreciate the Keep thing until, I guess, right now when you mentioned it, because I think most of the fear is that, hey, this thing's coming to replace my job, and why would I want to learn how to use these tools and feed into it? But that's a great way to kind of get ahead of that issue. It'd be like, hey, you can actually use this to make your life easier and do more for this company, rather than, we're not here to like get rid of you.
Yeah, because I think, yeah, exactly. I think it's also great to have, your company saying very clearly to the employees, this is a good use case. This is not a good use case. Here's the walls and how you use this, as opposed to telling people you need to start using AI or you're not going to be around very long, letting them go figure it out because it's going to happen, right? So yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be a huge tool also from a recruiting perspective, right? Like, we've already seen the data on this. I mean, that LinkedIn came out and said 54% of applicants are now asking the hiring managers what AI tools they will have access to as part of their job. So I think it's really kind of interesting, because I think we've got 2 camps on the employee front. Like, there is still the I will not, like, doomer, I refuse to use them. I've talked to plenty of these people. It's fine. That's your choice. I respect your your decision, and
Just know that you're wrong.
wrong, but I respect you being wrong. But then I think there are others of us who are like I can tell you right now, like if I had to go get a job tomorrow, like that would be the 100%, that would be the number one requirement of that I would be looking at, which is, do I have access to leverage Claude Code? Do I have access to leverage Claude Code work? You know, what other tools are you bringing in? What does your AI roadmap look like? Right? Like, there's no question that I would be like hammering on those questions before I would care about money, title, or any of those things. Because I just think we've gotten to a point. I mean, I know all three of you feel this way. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I was the one who was the latest to Claude Code. Thank you, PK and Chris. It took a while, but they got me there. But I'm so much, all of us are so much more productive now than we've ever been before. Like, the volume of stuff that you can create is, I don't know about you guys, but it's addicting, quite frankly. It is. I mean, like, I have my laptop open until 9 o'clock at night most nights.
I had a weekend where I was like, I don't want to do anything but this.
Derek, one of the developers that works from our team, worked closely with PK. When I'm on the phone, and then his wife made a comment. She's like, "You playing with Claude again?" And and I think, Andrew, you've probably already had your wife say something. There's going to be a new wave of.
Oh yeah. Well, there's so many memes out there now, right? About
there are so many memes.
There's also a lot of people who are historically absolutely not software builders, developers, even in the software business, like coming from mortgage, who are now suddenly with Claude building applications. There's a couple coaches I've seen coming out there with their own coaching tools that they're building. They're just vibe coding away and figuring it out, and it's fun to watch their journeys getting into it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's a whole conversation of build versus buy. That's always been there, but it's becoming a little like that level, right? Of how much you need to invest to build is dropping so fast.
And yeah, that's why our tool is enabled so that the lenders build on our platform, so we can connect the dot. So like the lender can talk to it in vibe code, but then we make it secure. We make it have authentication. It's SOC 2 compliant. They don't understand how it gets rates from OB, or how it talks to Encompass, or how it talks to this. We do that kind of work, but they, it's funny whenever they come to, I was up till 2 a.m. coding. I was like, well, you're not okay. Like, you're coding, but they're just using our platform to just talk to and make stuff. It's pretty cool.
Well, that's awesome. The one thing you said was, the employee coming on in Andrew's example, where he's like, hey, what AI tools do I have? I think the counter argument to that is, why do we need you if the AI is doing all of the work, right? I mean, I'll give you an example. When I was at my last company, True, and before that, when I was at Sales Boomerang, I had a team of 14 people, right? 14 people in the marketing department, and I also had all the SDRs doing outreach. Right, that's from 2019 to 2021, at the end of 21 when it sold at the peak. And then we had a bigger team from combining with Mortgage Coach, but that's a big team, right? Guess how many people I've got on my team right now? And we're a much bigger revenue company.
2,
3.
You're looking at this guy.
It's only one. Okay. I was going to give you an assistant, but
no, I have like, don't get me wrong, I have contractors, designers, and people like that. But I am so efficient when I have everything integrated. Right, every single sales call I do is integrated with my CRM and AI. I don't even talk to my CRM anymore. I just talk to Claude, and it's doing everything. It's orchestrating everything from my Zoom to my calendar to my emails. It's all coming from me still, but it's making me supercharged. And so I think about, like, at what point am I not necessary anymore? When a talking head doesn't even need to be on the sales call, and the whole machine is just running without me.
Well, so the people skills is what's going to become important, and Aziz got them.
Well, for the time being, I think you're still going to need problem identifiers and problem solvers, right? Because currently, like, the models aren't like great necessarily at doing that. Plus, they don't really have the vision necessarily. Although I watched the creepiest thing last night on YouTube. It was oh God, who is it? CEO of somewhere, I can't think about it now. He gave OpenClaw access to his Nest Home security camera system. So now the model can see everything in his home. And OpenClaw determined that he was dehydrated because it was watching him and seeing that he wasn't drinking enough water in the house.
Wow.
And then every time he would get water, OpenClaw started congratulating him.
Damn.
Through the text messaging.
That's awesome.
But all that being aside, right now it doesn't have the ability to dig into and really understand the problems, right? Like I always give this example, which is the first oh God, what do you call it? Not trademark, but
Royalty, I don't know, man.
IP on wheels being on a on luggage. The patent, sorry. The first patent filed for wheels going on luggage was in the 1970s. We sent someone to the moon in the 1960s. Like we figured out that we wanted to put somebody on the moon before someone was like, I think we should put wheels on this giant heavy box.
Right? Like dragging that shit around.
Well, it just goes to the point of like, we're not really that great at finding problems, right? And so we're still going to have to continue to do that. Where it gets interesting is when the AI now has the capability to detect and find the problems. Then what becomes our purpose? I don't think from a finance perspective, and I'm an optimist. Sorry, I'm getting philosophical, but I don't worry about the finance problem because eventually everything becomes free, right? Once the robots are full, the AI is there. What I worry about is the purpose component.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But I still think we're a long way away from the AI like doing your job. Like I still think Richard will be retired by the time like the AI would even have the capability to do your job. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I have a thought, but it goes back to one of the hiring questions. But Chris, what's your thoughts? Is it more related to this?
I was going to say, I hope I'm retired in the next 5 years. So
you are too, Chris. I'm rooting for you, brother.
Thank you.
Right. Like Chris could retire. Yeah, true. I'm buying that one.
Yeah. No, I do think we've said it so many times on here. People are overestimating the near term and underestimating the long term.
Yes.
I think the long term is going to be wilder than we think, and the short term is not as crazy as some of the Twitter posts would make you believe.
Yes. Talking about Twitter posts. Okay, so there was this one post I sent to I saw this late last night. I think I sent it to Evan. But Stripe, so they have this program that they spun up where they're taking basically junior folks that are like super AI pilled, and they're putting them in their marketing teams and saying, hey, go help our own people figure out use cases for AI and help them use it, help them get set up, and just like help them lean into that kind of way of working. And I think that's a really interesting opportunity, kind of like what Keith is doing from a 12-week workshop bootcamp perspective. Like I think this industry, it has like and I've talked to Kobe about this before, which is like there's not a lot of young people being brought into this industry and being trained up like there was 20, 30 years ago. And so this could be a great opportunity for young people who are more AI enabled, because for the last, I don't know, 4 to 5 years, they have been using these tools left, right, and center all through college and whatnot, if not even as early as high school, to be able to come into an organization and look at things from a fresh perspective and be like, oh, why are you doing it this way? Why don't you use this tool over here? And it's really easy to set this up. And so I think mortgage companies, if they were to lean into hiring young people and invest in them and give them, I guess, like the freedom and the leeway to be able to go into an organization and say, it's your job to, like, we did this at Goldman. Like, essentially they hire you for like 8 to 10 weeks and say, hey, you're going to be on this specific team. You're going to do a little bit of the day to day so you can understand the context. But then the rest of your time, you're supposed to figure out how to make things cheaper, faster, better, automate things, etc. And so mortgage companies can do the same exact thing. And I'm sure some people do have like internship programs, but like this could be like you don't have to wait till an internship or a summer for this. You can just do this all throughout the year, where you have some person, some young gun whose entire job is to help your team automate as much as possible and find opportunities for these AI use cases, and then just lean into it.
Mm.
And a young person has like fresh perspective. They're gonna, someone born after the 1970s, if they're gonna see some dude dragging a luggage to the airport, you're gonna be like, hey, why doesn't your thing have wheels in it? So like it's like they have a completely different perspective of how they're gonna see people doing business. They're gonna be like, why are you doing it that way? Whereas someone who's done it for 20, 30 years of just doing it the same way, they're gonna be like, oh, like I didn't know luggage comes with wheels on it.
I love that perspective, PK. I mean, it's such a positive outlook for the future that there is opportunity for humans to still shine, right, in roles like that.
Yes.
I love that because most of the people I talk to are pretty negative about it. They think, they kind of think that the value of a human is going down. If you looked at it like stock, the stock of a human is going down, and that's how I think the general public feels. Most people that I talk to are all really scared. So hearing those are great comments. I think people need to be saying stuff like that more often. Well, founder of my company is super AI forward. Ken is awesome. Ken Bartz, he invests in that space. He's doing everything he can to make sure the organization, he's really making sure our organization is AI forward, like very AI forward in everything we do internally and externally. He said an interesting comment to me that stuck with me, where he was saying that basically the kids who are in school right now in college, basically they're for the next like 5 to 10 years, they're really being not left behind might not be the right word for it, but those jobs that are going to exist in 10 years don't exist yet. That's the part that blew my mind away. Like those jobs aren't even created yet. And so they're studying the wrong thing is really what he was getting at. When you're going to school and you're going into these traditional majors, in college, you're coming out with degrees that are absolutely not going to help you in 5 years for the types of jobs that are going to be created. And that really stuck with me, and it made me think. I got twins that are 6 years old, and I'm like, well, hell, is there anything I can do right now for them, or will this all be a little more worked out by the time they're in college? You know what I mean?
I used to, like, being Indian as well, I used to be like, oh, STEM degrees are where it's at. And like, I don't know why anybody would go take a liberal arts degree, but I'm actually the opposite now, where I'm like, I would just study liberal arts, like philosophy or like logic or some things like that, or like language, rather than sitting there trying to learn how to program in some specific language. It's like, well, that might not even exist in like 6 years.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to mention on the other the aspect I talked about, and you kind of related to it with your founder Ken, which is it has to come top down. It can't be like you can't just expect your people to figure it out. I think you have to lead from the front if you want your people to lean into these tools, and your people already have like too much of a backlog where they don't have time to go learn another thing. Like you've already loaded them up max, and so. Either bring outside people in kind of like this junior training program, or you have to find ways to essentially like give them the space to actually learn and mess around and play, like a sandbox area. And if you're not doing either of them, it's kind of like a messed up expectation that they're just going to make your workforce AI enabled. Like there's no bandwidth for that.
People need a actual thing to do with it. Otherwise they just get paralysis through analysis. So just be like, I don't know what to do. And so we found just giving people a simple, we just built a CRM for somebody, and then we ended up putting in like a 10-step, like it shows the features that they're not using. And so, but like, it's like, hey, you're not using this, so let's talk about it. But yeah, once you tell someone, hey, do this, then you got to get some things in there to make them go, oh,
Yeah. Well, Chris, you and I have talked about this, which is, if you're selling an AI product, unless you've built a SaaS product that just has AI smacked on top of it, right? So we're not going outside of those. You are in many ways selling a product that like people don't even have, right? Like they haven't even used it like necessarily. And so you're 100%, you've got to give them use cases and explain to them. And that's why, like, Richard, I love what they're doing with the 12-week course, right? Because I think that is such a critical piece of it is you really do need someone, you know, who's going to walk you through like how to best use this tool. And I think collaboration in the current arena is so critical, right? Like I'm the most non-technical person at our company, right? And yet oftentimes I am getting maybe a post from PK that was on X that's a new product that just got put into GitHub that I tell Tim about, and Tim's like, oh shit, this is cool as hell. Like, I'm glad you caught it. Right. I think that's why these conversations are so important right now, and everybody kind of collaborating, because there's just more than anyone can wrap their head around. I mean, I do this all day, 12 hours a day plus, and I would never tell you.
You feel left behind.
I feel left behind. Yeah, that's why like I laugh when I see these experts on LinkedIn who have like a full-time job that has absolutely nothing to do with AI, and yet they write these posts like they know exactly what AI is doing. And I'm like, you're the problem. People have AI exhaustion. Like you're the AI slop. Like you're writing it, like you're not even having AI write it, and you are the AI slop.
Yeah,
because you don't. I'm serious.
Well, if you look at
y'all know I'm right.
You are right.
I just see Chris laughing, and just like can't help it.
I know.
If you look at like a year ago, the output that would come from ChatGPT or Claude or any of these popular AI services, when people would be doing social posts or writing anything, right? It was obvious that it was written by AI a year ago. And I was telling everybody, like, don't use this AI slop on your LinkedIn. Do not do that. You will lose all your followers immediately. But I got to tell you right now, because you're not creating value, right? It's just, it's hard to read. It's not good.
That's the key.
But what I'm seeing right now is that once you've trained the AI to speak with your voice, and there are some people that are out there doing it. One of them is one of the most popular people on LinkedIn and mortgage. And he just talks conversation with Whisperflow to Claude. Claude writes all of his LinkedIn posts, and it looks and reads like a human is writing it, because he's trained it to create typos and errors. And if you actually look at the post there, I can't tell. Like, I really can't tell. I even complimented him and was like, good for you for writing your own posts. And I get these back channel messages that are like, by the way, I'm not actually doing these. Half of these are AI enabled. He's coming up with the creativity and the thought genesis behind
right.
it. But go ahead.
Sorry. How is that different from using a ghostwriter, right? Like Dylan Latour, right? Great guy, by the way. Love Dylan, right? Dylan makes a lot, as far as I can tell, Dylan's doing pretty well ghostwriting. I don't know. Every time I turn around, he's in like Paris or Morocco or some shit like that. So anyways,
Dylan's a good guy.
Why is it everybody is cool with ghostwriters, but the moment that you're leveraging AI as a ghostwriter, because that's what you just described to me, right? Yeah. Which is, it's his thought process. He's having the conversation with another entity, right? That gets into the debate of AI being a tool or an organism, but I won't do that one today. But he is then leveraging that to write, just like I would use a ghostwriter. And so I think you nailed it on the head, which is, are you bringing value? I don't care how you bring it. I really don't. The question is, are you actually bringing value? Because there are plenty of people on LinkedIn who don't use AI, who don't bring any value.
It's true.
All right, I'm being harsh today. Jeez.
No, it is. And it's also the presentation. There's a lot of people who used to dump out really good content in terms of like, the unique data sets they're bringing to people. But if it's not entertaining and digestible, people don't read it.
Right.
You've got to be spaced out with just the right, blank space between each sentence to make the impact and get the reader in. You know what I mean? You can't just dump a wall of text with a bunch of data and people aren't just going to gloss right over it,
Yeah, it's not X. You can't get away with
fish
that.
brain.
Yeah.
Okay, can we? But I want to pivot to a different topic. So, Richard, you've been in the startup space for a long time. As you mentioned, across multiple, industries and arenas. What is the number one mistake that you see startups make coming into the mortgage industry? Mortgage tech.
Yeah. I think the main one is they're so in love with what they're doing and they think it's such a big deal, but lenders don't care. Lenders don't care. And how they think that it's like different really isn't that different from the other alternatives that are out there. It's just like a little different,
Right.
to the exact same outcome. You know what I mean? So I guess that's the main one. Even, well-funded startups I've been a part of or helped, or just folks that I meet, is that, you really need to listen to the customers in the market. Listen to them. Don't drink your own Kool-Aid. Go pitch it a bunch of times. Actually, go pitch it 100 times. And this is the same advice you're going to get from a shark on Shark Tank, right? They want to see you talking to customers. Anybody who's putting their money into any company or is trying to see how viable a product is wants to see you pitch it to customers and how that is received. If
Right.
the customers are all like, buy it, buy it, buy it, I will love it, I love it, I love it, you've got something there for sure. But if they're giving you feedback like, I don't know, like maybe now's not the right time, check back next year or next 2 years or next 3 years, you know what I mean? And sometimes it takes like a whole bunch of those conversations to pivot to change the way you're coming to market to find your spot,
Yeah, 100%. I would agree. It does seem so. With that being said, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you think it is for a mortgage tech company to either A, have employees who came from the mortgage industry, or B, at a minimum, have an advisory board that has people from the mortgage industry, right? I feel like every year that there's a new graduating class at Stanford, I see a new cohort of mortgage startups that never go anywhere. And I feel bad because like these are kids who are way brighter than me, right? Like, but they don't have those. They are, but they don't have the conversation, so they don't have the context, right? Knowledge is nothing without context. So, how important do you feel like that is?
I think it's really important, but I think that unfortunately, I think the market and the industry doesn't. I look at a lot of lenders that buy, and they're not buying from. Matter of fact, they don't want to buy from other mortgage lenders, or even get a cent that another mortgage lender is involved with a software company as an investor or owner. If they even get a cent of that, they're probably not going to want that.
Well, that I don't have a problem. I don't actually disagree with that. What I meant more so was just like having people who work for that startup who have the background of mortgage. I kind of get the like, if Rocket rolls out a tech, some sort of tech, do I really want to buy that tech and give money to Rocket as well as my data?
I think my answer depends. This might sound really harsh, but I think it depends on your IQ. I mean, I'm sorry. I think it really does. If you got a person who's like smart and can learn quickly and pick up the mortgage jargon in the space, then you're going to be okay. But if you're not that person, you're gonna sound like an idiot talking to a lot of mortgage lenders.
As long as you have the conversations, which I think comes back to your point of the go pitch 100 times.
Yeah, it's like my 5-year-old daughter was like, my wife calls and uses CarPlay. It says calling Chris Mace mobile. My daughter's like, what's mobile? And she's like, it means like it's not attached. Like we used to have our phones attached to the wall. And she's like, why would you do that? Like just like it doesn't have any context of history. I was like, well, we didn't have a choice. Like,
that's hilarious.
It is kind of funny when you think about it. They're like all these forms still say like home number and cell number.
Yeah.
Like who has a home number? Like
yeah, there is getting some of that mortgage.
Can you even get that? Like, is that a thing?
I'll tell you something though. I was just at LeadsCon, and my founder was on a panel. I talked to the people at LeadsCon and a couple of the other folks that were on there. And my founder's on the panel. I had the opportunity to speak on the panel. I was going to speak on the panel, but I was like, you know what? Ken's been in this industry since, just at this company since 2012. He's been in it for 30 years. Sold multiple direct-to-consumer lending companies. Sold, Sales Boomerang was his brainchild. So I'm like, why would I get on stage when I've got Ken here? So I put Ken on stage on this panel, and he's on a panel with another young guy, Josh Lear. I don't know if you guys know Josh Lear from
He was on
Josh,
last week.
Josh is fantastic. I like Josh a lot. Josh is also really smart. I would say he's in the high IQ category, but Josh does not have Ken's experience and breadth of experience. When they're answering the questions on the panel, Josh gives fantastic answers. Like he'll talk about the use of data in, like, for example, targeting in a campaign. He's spot on. When Ken gives answers, Ken's talking about loan types and loan programs in a specific marketing program that he ran in 2019 to this cohort of borrowers. That is not something that you can do or talk about, and you can tell the whole audience is rapt listening to him, because you can't bring that level of like detail speaks directly to every single buyer, direct-to-consumer lender in the audience that Ken's got, unless you've actually been there and done it for his amount of time. And he's got the tech vendor side, he's got the direct-to-consumer lender side, and God, I was happy I was not up on stage after watching Ken in action, because I was like, everybody's rapt to his every word, because he's literally like done it all at this point, and his examples are so granular. They're like in the trenches, the exact same things that everybody in the room is going through right now. I would have been just like Josh, giving good examples, but not at all on the same page. You know what I mean?
Andrew,
So
is a question more
wait,
so?
real quick, for anybody who's watching this, especially anybody upcoming in sales and marketing, this is why Richard is one of the absolute best in the business, is because Richard's willing to set his ego aside to put the better person on stage. So no, I'm serious. Like, I want to applaud that, because I think that is lost with a lot of people in your role, which is they want to be on stage, right? Like they want to be in that limelight. And I love the fact that you were like, you know what? I'm not the right person for this moment. This is the right person. And it worked out exactly as you planned. So,
I had lenders afterwards watching Ken come up to me, ones that I had talked and done a quick sales call and pitch with, who came up to me afterwards and were like, we got to sign up with you guys, specifically because of Ken on stage. And I was just like, all right, this is a lesson right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Hey, Boomer, do you have last week's?
I do. So I lied. Last week's boomer. He likes to call me a boomer.
Funny.
I just love that he just picked up immediately. I was just like, hey, Boomer, do you have last week's question?
I am the designated boomer, except for when PK and Chris make technical mistakes, then they are honorary boomers.
Dude, you are way too honorary.
I am not. Yes, you are
He's
correct. I am nowhere near close to a boomer. I'm like a young Gen X.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, come on, man. I'm like right on the border of Gen X, and you know what I mean? Like, you are definitely on the younger side.
So, okay. So the question from last week, actually, last week's guest was Amanda Tucker from Atlantic Bay Mortgage. And what Amanda wanted to know was what you thought the best use of AI is in marketing.
To me?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. What's up, Amanda? Is she gonna hear this?
She watches it, hopefully. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna send it in LinkedIn and be like, Amanda. Yeah, the best use of AI in marketing specifically, right?
Yeah,
not
in marketing
writing or any of that. Okay. In the direct-to-consumer space, I know Atlantic Bay is not going to love this example because I don't think they're in direct-to-consumer at all. But in the direct-to-consumer space, the example I've seen is one of our great clients is really big. They have several call centers with hundreds of loan officers in them. And their biggest problem was burnout. I heard the leader talking on a panel at LeadsCon, and he was like, listen, AI has not enabled us to close more loans. I want everyone to know that. It's not letting us close more loans. We are closing the same amount of loans. But he said, but my burnout went from 50% of my loan officers burning out. And he used a number like 50%. That is really high, down to literally zero. He has 0% burnout now with his loan officers. And what that has done for him is like he started listing all of them, the productivity by being able to retain all of these, really killers, great sales folks. It's because they don't have to get on the phone anymore with people who absolutely don't want to talk to you. If you have to get on the phone every single time it rings and you pick up 100% of every single call, a lot of those calls are like, hey, don't call me anymore. Hey, you should, jump off a cliff and kill yourself right now because I hate what you do. Like you hear
right.
long, it hurts. Right. And it affects you. And you're like, why do I do this anymore? You get a lot of burnout. He's eliminated. He's got an AI screener on all the calls coming into his call centers right now. He's not losing any qualified opportunities. It's just a couple quick questions. Right. And the AI is super efficient and quick. And now every single call is a good call. Every single call a loan officer gets on and has is like a borrower who's actually got something to talk about. Right. Why they got into the business. Let's see if I can help you pay off some of that high interest credit card debt, using the equity in your home. Like, this is why you get into the business as a loan officer. It's not to get yelled at all day. You see what I mean?
Yeah, no,
that's a phenomenal use case.
I love that. That is a absolutely phenomenal use case. Okay, so next week's guest is Melissa Langdale.
Oh, come on.
You know Melissa.
She's she's gonna crush me. That's for sure.
So, what question would you like us to ask Melissa?
Melissa is talking to a lot of lenders out there. She is so connected and super intelligent herself. She's also one of the ones who's been on the lender and tech side, and vendor side. So my question to her would be, tell me 3 examples of the most innovative thing that lenders are doing, and that other lenders are not doing right now as with respect to AI.
Great question.
That is a great question. I love it. Richard, this hour went way too quick.
Oh, I didn't even know we were done.
It's already, we went a full hour there. We can keep going. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the time. We'll definitely have to have you back on here because I don't feel like we got deep enough into the AI conversations, particularly around marketing. But before we leave, I want to end on one question that I desperately want to know. What is your favorite AI tool that is not one of the like foundational models? So exclude Claude, GPT, Perplexity, those sorts of things. Is there another AI tool that you use a lot that you love?
You want me to exclude Gamma too? Is that pretty mainstream?
No, Gamma's fine. If that's Gamma's the one.
Gamma's pretty awesome. The reason is really the way it interacts with Claude. I mean, like my organization right now, we have all of our branding and it's all a Claude skill. And it's linked with Gamma. So literally, marketing used to be the agency in a company. Everybody would come like an agency to marketing and be like, I need this done for me. And I have to go with designers and, with writers to create the marketing output, for that client. I call them clients, but it's really people at my company.
Right.
I don't do that anymore. Right. Like Claude and Gamma actually, and these skills in Claude and Gamma enable those people to just say like, here's the raw data, create a marketing content piece for me. Yeah. It's incredible.
No, the branding skill, I'm with you. Like we created a 70-page like brand book and then uploaded that as the skill. And so now it's like anything I want, it's just consistently designed across. So there's no question. It totally changes the game of marketing. So
again,
Richard, thank you so much again. I really appreciate it. And we'll see everybody back here next week for episode 48